What do you run?
What am I running? Well, better start with the leader. Won't bore you with the details, but you know, GT starts with the Spaceship on board. Good aggro deck that has some versatility in using the different options that came out with the set, because every card that goes under the Unison, you can tech to whatever you want. So I'll get into that package. So we'll start off with the necessary evil, obviously. The Unison, obviously starting out with one at the start of the game. So we run the one. The second one, emergency copy, have not had it come up yet.
High secret rare could blow it up.
Could blow it up, but even then the backside can recycle. So yeah, we're yet to see it come up, but it is just there as an emergency. Following on, we'll continue with the rest of the GT package. The ideal turn one opener being 4 of the 1-drop Goku. Card that can search pretty much your entire deck and lets you put your Unison up with a card under. Great card, turn 1, yeah, ideal opener.
So you're starting on like 4 or 5 markers depending on which way you go?
Yeah, exactly. So ideally, play that for 1, put the marker to 2, put another Saiyan under. There's 2 Saiyans because he's under, you go to 4, and that's without the leader swing if you were to go second. So not bad. The MVP, the deck that facilitates the entire engine, would be the Pans. Scary running them at 3, but I've not yet run into many consistency issues because of the high draw power and the high cycling. But you need it turn 2, so you've got a tad amount of time to find it. But this is broken, allowing you to play 2 cards for 2 energy, and they're resolving all their effects. And all you need to do is put it under the Unison with a myriad of effects, like the leader or its own effect. Simply put, it plays the following cards, the rest of the package.
So it did come up as well. You did play it one game without playing anything, just for the blocker as well.
Yes, an emergency blocker just for Spirit Boost 1, amazing. Because once 1 sticks on the board, it's just an activate main, so you don't need to have another copy, realistically, as soon as you see the 1 and it sticks. Most games it sticks, but people do know to address it if they can, but it will run away with the game as soon as you use its effect. The cards it importantly plays, the 3-drop Crit Goku and the 3-drop Trunks, as well as the 4-drops Trunks. I think there's only the 3 copies of that. Yeah. These are the copies, these are the largest bodies you can play out from the Unison using the Pan effect, and they're also your toolbox. You've got your blocker, your crit, and your Unison defense.
Barrier neg.
And barrier minus, yeah, very strong. This blocking the Unison to stop them attacking into it has not come up yet. They'll just ignore it because it will run away to 10 markers. The blocker has come up sometimes, but ideally you want it mostly for its effect to cycle cards into the Unison, because just relying on the leader and putting a 1-drop under, which you is not really super ideal. These are the best ways to get extra cards out apart from your leader and apart from the main swing. So they're your backup, putting material under. I'm not running the extra card that came with the set, but I think it might be necessary, because then you can chuck any of these in like a toolbox straight from your deck, but I just haven't got it in at this time. I don't know where to chuck it in, the deck being tight.
Are you at 60 at the moment already, or?
Nah, I'm at like 50, but I like running this as consistently as possible.
Yeah,
so I'm not a 60 kind of person. Apart from that, yeah, their effects of replacing it, putting a card back under the Unison, giving a marker, amazing. Critical always comes up. The ideal turn 2 to start chipping without giving them advantage, and a sticky guy that protects you. So that's pretty much that. Moving into the card you cannot play, and is the later recycle, is the 4-drop Goku. You cannot play off the pen because he's 20k, but his effect for coming out of the Unison for only 1 on turn 3 onwards to minus, and then swing and recover dead cards that might have died and put them back under the Unison. Another way to refill your Unison. Great card for that tech alone, and 20k to push into other Unisons. And yeah, they're a great charge target, but I would not run less than 3 because I need to see it in those scenarios where I'm starving of particular cards and I need to recycle ones that have already died.
It's just good that most of the resources you use aren't from hand, they're from under unison, so it doesn't cost you hand size.
Or if they are from hand, they've already recycled themselves with a draw one to replenish that. But yeah, even then, with all this consistency of red Saiyans, you still miss sometimes. And the last ones to round out the package are the SR, the Moneymaker. Coming out on turn 4, if you're a madman, turn 3 by spirit boosting 10 in some circumstances, but no, you can't. They're going to be at 5 energy. So yeah, turn 4 and 5 onwards, your board wiper, your pusher, does everything, and for really cost-effective mana, 3 energy for 3 30k swings that have negative 30 to the board is insane. I am quite, let's say, reserved when playing it. I'll hold off until I know it's going to be safe or I can maximise its value, because with the rest of the cards in the deck, you can push aggro and then put them on the back foot and then just maintain that position for a turn or 2 before you need to push. For example, stalling out a Hachiak secret or other floodgates.
Hachiak deck too.
A Hachiak deck too, yeah. A good answer for the entire Hachiak deck, yes. But yeah, only at 3 because you need to see him late, but you don't need him early because in the meantime he's just a Saiyan target, or he's got his small buff to the unison to put him under.
You need to leave it till late because yeah, you'll lose to the colours that stop you with those floodgates if you've tapped your entire energy for it.
Exactly, yeah. So you might generally want 1 energy open for, say, your counter plays like the Vegeta coming up. And yeah, because you can keep him in your hand as long as you're not privy to hand destruction or against hand destruction. You can just store him in your hand and then put him under as you need him. And that makes the GT package pretty much solved. Moving on to the additional tech cards of choice. I'm running Self-Awakeners of sorts because this is another target but not part of the main set package. A Trunks that can also be played out from the unison. Not many people can pick up on that. So because the leader can awaken when you're at 7 or more markers, which you hit generally turn 2 or 3, you'll be stuck at 6 life. And I am also running Raditz super combos because I prefer these because they're searchable and they do more than the unison specific Krillins. You want to rush to 4 sometimes, and this is the extra tool to just chip you over. And early game, who doesn't like critting your opponent?
If you're at 7, you can take that life down to 6 before you awaken to get even more value as well.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, it's perfect. To lead in, off the pan plays and all these red Saiyans, run more red Saiyan Bardock. 1 drop removal crit is bonkers, but once again, you need to see it at weird timing, so they're all at 3 because there's not a lot of room to run it at 50 cards while running all the cards I want to see. But yeah, just 1 energy, crit, removal, what more can you ask for?
Kills those block and negates on swing if they use that as well.
Yep, it's perfect for that. So they will get no advantage, they'll just take a life. That's easy for 1 drops. Moving into the mandatory Yamchas. You've got a unison that's on 4 or more markers from turn 1, why not have removal? Its timing is a bit weird, but threatening your opponent with a neg 15 at almost all times when they play a card, why not? Not much to say, apart from I had a tournament today where using this on union absorbers is disgusting. They declare you union absorb and you minus them by 15k before they can evolve.
So that was the Finn match, you got the mirror before it could come out.
Yeah, being dirty.
Tap 3 to eat it.
I'm hoping I'm not ruling that incorrectly, but I believe that's what you can do. But yeah, same thing with Cell. They use the
you can only hit things in window 2, but you can play at window 1, hit existing cards.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Union will sit on the board and then you can wipe it before it into window 1. Yeah. So obviously Unison deck, run a Unison card. Because our Unison is huge and I like destroying other people's cards, the best card in the deck almost, because any secret rare cannot stand up to it. Today even, I had to kill a Vegeta secret rare, the non-god rare one, but negged it. He recycled it, played it again the next turn, which was a bit sucky, but so I got secret rare twice in one game and still won. But yeah, neg, minusing any card by 50k or more just for the cost of your markers, which are expendable, is great.
Do you think this card's broken, needs to go, or it's okay because it's in the one deck?
It's in the one deck. I don't think it's broken.
It's almost unusable in other decks because you can't sacrifice a unison.
Exactly, yeah. And if you're forcing, and you have to see it, and you have to have the unison on higher markers, so like if you're against some aggro deck that somehow gets this low, then it becomes less and less useful. One thing to note, you can get away with just doing a neg 5k without even removing any markers. That is a little dirty when they leave one little one drop they want to resolve. Say it's like a Trunks Awakener or something, and you catch them slipping and they swing with leader first. You can hit it with just the 5k with no checks to the unison and mess up their tempo. So broken card. Main deck floodgates. We've got just two
Backstreet Boys.
Hence the SBR, but generic floodgate that can be free because this is an aggro deck. I want everything to be low cost, generally an aggro deck. Perfect for wide boards.
The negative beam.
The negative beam, because if this is to kill big targets, this is to kill wide targets, wide decks. That's basically it. And obviously going for free when you're at 3 life is amazing. To round out some Self-Awakening, if you've got only one of those Self-Awakener trunks from earlier and you're on 6 life, swing with that. This is yes, Awakener to activate your super combos. Also, they're just broken negates, why would you not run them? Pretty much the last of the tech cards is the Vegeta that may need to increase because they're so good. Been a bit restrictive being that they're only on turn 3, but they're searchable through the likes of Goku. You want to draw into them late anyway, so very good card. Definitely
Probably one of the best cat plays in the format at the moment.
If Topo and that start going to, or if Topo-like effects start hitting 20k, then you'd start cutting this out because then you can't hit them anyway, but most good effects are on 15k cards, so this is perfect.
Yeah, Oceanus, Mecha, Boo.
Yeah, definitely.
Token negate.
And a token negate, just to mess with your opponent. As stated before, I'm running a lot of searches. I'm gunning for this 4 life, so I'm running this super combo instead of the Krillin. It's worked out perfectly in cycles when you need to, especially when I haven't seen a negate and I've got 15 markers. What else am I going to do? I'd rather dig harder for the cards I actually need. And to further emphasize that, my secret rare package, we've got...
The yellow player?
Almost. We'll start with the red cards. The sneaky free plays are very good. When you control nothing, they've controlled something. It's great for turn 1, in which you're going, or on turn 2, when you've gone second. They've played a 1 drop, you get to free play a 15k. Blocker if you don't want to swing or just push for more advantage. There's a bunch of minuses attached to a bunch of the GT package, such as the Boss Monster or the Barrier and 4-drop Goku. Those cards all have minus, so a free minus, as well as in-drop effect to be a secondary -5.
It's got the spare energy.
It's a combo, a second combo. Yeah, we don't spend a lot of energy on the cards unless we need to. Yeah, that turn 3 and 4 is hazy and you don't need to spend a lot. We're running a unison that starts on the board every game. Why not run the best red overwhelm card? Great for finishing games or taking big chips out of the opposing unison. Sometimes it's required to bait to facilitate the other free plays. That's it. Then one-off Champer, one-off Shotgun for the win. We've got massive cards here that become 40 and 50 double strike that are for free. So on 1 energy, we can end games for a...
It's a mandatory deck building staple now.
Exactly. Man on a mission, I've just default selected this after the other bans of the other big black cards, like the Dual Attack Bardock and the Marseille Overrealm.
Do you think this is probably one of the best overrealms for choice now?
Yeah, it's up there. It's basically down to choice. I was considering maybe 1 or 2 of the draw 2, ditch 1 Bardock, but the double crit just makes people have to answer it with a negate, so it's great for baiting and pushing when you're way ahead. Just snowballs you if you can resolve it, or it catches you up. And simply, I'm just running this secret rare. You can run whatever you like in this slot. I like to run it as both aggro and defense as needed. If you want to close out a game with Champer, you've got 1 energy open, slap it down because your board is generally 4 wide minimum.
And you said you play it more aggressively, so it's probably better for you than Kai or Vegeta at this point.
Yeah, I do not like the energy costs on the Kai.
Well, there's too much energy.
Yeah. In an aggro deck, I love my energy being open, so... And yeah, the steel 1 hasn't come up yet, but still, using it as a big shotgun target with these 2 is just gross. And yeah, your own somewhat Hachiak effect for battle cards.
Before you go into side deck as well, do you think there's any good or bad matchups for GT? It's a pretty even spread most of the time.
That one's a tough one. I reckon you can play around most decks. Gamma might be a different story. Any consistent blue deck can bean out of your 15k board, and then when they're threatened slightly, they'll Hachiak. Your best outplay is doing the Spirit Boost to -30 and then another card to -10 to finish off a Hachiak to at least deny them a big boy. But yeah, apart from that, most you can, because you're so low to the ground, you can play around what they're doing. There's some tech cards in here that you just play for them, like the Vegeta or the Floodgates. You can answer basically any board if you're ready to play around with it.
Finn's meant to be a bad matchup, but you played around that pretty well. Would you give anyone any tips for playing against Finn?
Oh yes, yeah, because they're trying to steal your unison. Do not invest too many material in this. Just let the counter go up, but keep the count of cards that you're relying on in there very small. In my opinion, I was just chucking under stuff like this barrier card, would put it under, immediately play it out. Anything that's under, play it out, just to stay ahead of them, so they have to answer your board to get ahead. And if they do remove it, you're not losing too much. That might be a good reason for the second copy of this, say you just ditch it for some effect or somehow get it out of your hand. You can use it as an emergency method if they've just removed your unison, to use your backside effect for 1 energy. And yeah, the 1 energy into another 1 energy is just perfect because it's 2 energy for 15k that -2 barrier and they can't touch. Perfect. Apart from that, go for their head, because as soon as they do not have their floodgate negate, go as hard as you can.
Onto the side.
Onto the sideboard.
The morning of sideboard.
The morning of sideboard, so excuse my tardiness of choice. I chucked these in. Don't think they'll ever come up. Other floodgates. I was not playing against any really large decks that were hitting 20k and upwards, today in particular, but I put them in case I did. This is probably up to your discretion. I was getting by fine with my main deck negates, but I can definitely see if I was playing against something like a I don't know, it's not in the format now, but a Dark Broly like deck that's going 30k every turn, decent card, and that's mainly what it's for. Or I might be into stuff like
Cooler Unison, or the Freezer Unison in Cooler.
Yeah,
like
the very
triple or something.
Yeah, the very big Unison decks that can swing multiple times. That's decent for, but yeah, it's just in there for choice because it's my morning of side deck. I hate playing against U7 because everyone plays against U7, so I've got Koitsukais. Why not? They answer their entire deck in their turn, and you can just stall by playing this and fighting off their boss monsters with the strategies negate. Strategies? the 0 cost, difference of status, sorry. Yeah, so I can delay, wait till a bit later if they ever threaten me, minus a perfect card. I saw these in main decks of other GT cards. I tried it into a cell matchup, works very well. They pop anything that's Earthling, which is half your deck, you can just recur it so you can keep on top of them with some...
And the blocker. Juice.
And the blocker, yeah. It's great. Other side deck cards, I'm not sure. I did see the SSB Goku, the one that can whiteboard or -20.
Oh, Kaioken lad.
That's it, Kaioken. I'd probably grab those if I had them this morning. They're probably a decent consideration, but in terms of board wipe, you've got it sorted. It'd most likely be for the neg barrier if you're in a matchup for that. Apart from that, I think my main deck, if you play it correctly, you can play for a win with what's in there, and then the side deck is just that little bit of fine tuning, but honestly didn't feel like it needed it. So yeah, that's how my deck goes.
Alright, thanks for that, and congratulations on the split first place. Woo.